All right, let's talk for just a second about side planks. So you are in charge of your body, right? You know what works best for you. So sometimes an easier option may not necessarily be what works best for your body, and I'll show you why, okay? So side planks, my side plank is not very strong right now, so I don't know how long I will be able to hold it for you, but traditionally, full side plank, right? Our feet are stacked one on top of the other, and here we are. Now, I'm gonna drop out of that for just a moment, and then I'll come back. A progression or a regression, I should say, is that you're staggering your feet one in front of the other, because that's gonna give you a wider base of support at your feet, which is going to give you a little bit more stability. Okay, so that is your full side plank. Stagger your feet to make it a little easier, stacking your feet to make it a little harder. You could then, if you wanted to make it harder from there, I'm gonna try my other side to keep myself balanced, because these are super hard. Still recovering from having frozen shoulders, so my shoulder strength is not quite there. But if you wanted to make it harder, you could lift the outside leg, okay? So those are kind of the hardest versions of your side plank. Now, what is usually my go-to for a modification of side plank? I like to be on all fours, take out one leg to the side like a kickstand, and then I open up into a modified side plank. Okay, you just want to make sure that you're pressing your hips forward so that your body is kind of flat, like a piece of bread sliding into a toaster. You want to make sure that your hips aren't sinking back, but really press your hips forward. Again, lifting up and out of the shoulder. We're not sinking into the shoulder, but using our arm and our shoulder muscles to really stabilize and lift up and away from the floor. You can make this harder by lifting and lowering the outside leg. Okay, I've seen some exercises where they're on a forearm side plank and maybe rotating from side to side. So oftentimes I will be right here and do this because I'm still getting the rotation and I'm in a side plank position, right? So I'm getting the same thing, but it's not quite as hard as if you were in a, so modified side plank on my forearm first would be down here, knees bent, and I would lift, okay? So this would be forearm modified side plank. You could lift and lower the outside leg to make it harder, all right? And then even harder still, we extend those legs. You could stagger the feet to start like we just talked about. Lift, so forearm side plank. And then if you wanted to make it even harder, you would stack the legs, and I can already tell you I'm not gonna be able to get up there without it being super strenuous, so I'm not even gonna try because I don't wanna hurt my shoulder. Been working hard to rehab those, but I just kind of wanted to give you some ideas for modification for side plank. And when I was talking about, you know, specific versions maybe not being best for everybody in order of easiest to hardest, is because some people being on their knees is really hard, right? So if you can't be on your knee to modify, come down into the forearm side plank, but do the bent knee version. Okay, so that still gives you a modification, but you don't have to be on your knees. You just have to be super mindful of your shoulders. All right, so anytime you're in a class or taking an on-demand class, remember you're in charge, and I offer you all of these options just to get you thinking about what the options are to give you tools in your toolbox, right? Because they all work. It's all still working the side of the body in your core and requiring some shoulder strength. You just have to choose the one that works best for you. So with that being said, if you were going to do a side plank right now, which one do you think would be your number one choice, regardless of what the instructor is asking you to do?